Hi, welcome to another episode of the Tap Diesel Show. I'm your host, Tap Diesel, and today we have special hosts, special guests, Kevin Bourne and Joe Mabratu. Did I say that correct? All right, awesome. My man. So they're both co-founders of Shifter Magazine, which is blowing up and it's huge. And we're going to talk about, what you have done in the past year, 2017 and 2016, right? So, Shifter Magazine is a digital magazine online. It's for aspiring artists and entrepreneurs. Just tell us a little bit more about how you guys actually started with Shifter Magazine.
Like all great things, out of frustration.
Hey, man, you got to start somewhere, right?
I've worked in the arts for years and just watched a lot of, incredible, talented people, and they just didn't have a platform. And so Kevin and I just noticed that there was a need to build a platform that would allow great, incredible, talented people to express their talents. But we were just like, it wasn't just a platform, though, too, because we were thinking of the idea of cultural transformation. How do you change something? Instead of just criticizing stuff, we thought, what if we get people to create stuff? And so in response to things that they hate. So the idea is like, how do you change something you don't like? Instead of boycotting or protesting, why not create something that is different? And so the idea of activating people's creativity and trying to move people from just being consumers to creators and eventually to influencers. So that's really was the heart behind the vision of Shifter Magazine.
World leaders, world changers. I like that. Kevin?
I think in the beginning we kind of unified around the fact that we were both inspired by Oprah, and just people always laugh when we say that.
Hey,
but yeah, she had this, she has this ability to find look at all the people that came out of Oprah, like Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, like amazing talent came out of her what she built, and so we were kind of both inspired by that. We were like, we want to build something that could find those people that need to be heard. So that's we kind of unified around that wanting to build that kind of platform.
And I guess another basic introduction. How did you two meet?
At church.
Raise him.
Where all black people meet.
Hey,
yeah,
man, church or basketball games, right?
That's exactly where black people congregate, Yeah, a church, man. I was a pastor.
Oh, really?
This really cool. And he was the media guy.
Oh.
And so he would come for some pastoral counsel. Just kidding. But no, we just developed a really cool relationship just out of working together and just talking about Oprah a lot.
Hey, man, I talk about Dr. Phil. It's the same thing.
It was just, that's where it started. It was just kind of, it's kind of funny because that's where all kind of incredible stuff starts, in a lot of churches, it's an incubator, for talent. A lot of great artists like Beyonce that I'm looking at right now. Where does she come from? Church. Justin Bieber, where did he come from? Church. It's like all great talent comes from church. You know that.
I think my dad told me. I probably misinformed. I don't know what happened. But. So you're going to preach for us tonight about Shifter Magazine.
Yeah,
right?
baby.
The both of you.
Yeah, we're going
right?
to.
We're going to do that, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so both of you being from Toronto.
No, I'm not. I just lived in Toronto.
You lived in Toronto?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
but Kevin, you were from Toronto
yeah,
originally.
Yeah.
So now, Toronto is the main entertainment hub with aspiring actors, like you said, and entrepreneurs. Now, what made you choose Ottawa to be your birthplace of your business?
That's a good question. I get asked that all the time. It's weird because I never did anything creative in Toronto. Like I picked up a camera for the first time in Ottawa. In Toronto, I was very just corporate, very just, a consulting business. And as soon as I came to Ottawa, it was like I just all of a sudden started creating stuff. And I think part of Toronto is a saturated market. Even people that I know who are there are trying to ask me how to come here. In a sense, not necessarily, some are actually considering moving, but some are actually like, okay, how can I bring my tour there? How can I, because they're realizing, okay, Toronto's saturated, Ottawa's a new market. So I think for a lot of people, they're realizing that bigger cities like the Toronto's, the Montreal's are saturated. So Ottawa is like a logical place where people are considering. And so for me, when it comes to media, I think Toronto's it's doing it. Like you have the Much Musics, you have all these big stations. The first thing I noticed when I came to Ottawa, I was like, where's the national media? And I didn't see anything. I was like, okay, and I realized, okay, all the national media is in Toronto, like Toronto Star, Globe and Mail, all those kinds of entities are all based in Toronto. So I was like, shoot, there's no national media here. And so for me, I was like, that's an opportunity. And even now, I feel like my personal belief is that the Canadian media landscape isn't complete until Ottawa gets its voice. Like all the national media can't come out of Toronto. Like Ottawa has to have a voice for, I think, the Canadian media landscape to be complete.
100%. And so what would you say are some of the obstacles in order for you to become a driving force in terms of becoming a national media company from Ottawa?
Ottawa is different. Like, for instance, like say we go to Toronto and we just like post and say, hey, we're in Toronto, our social media blows up. Like people start following. People are like, for the longest time when we first we were doing Shifter, we would hashtag Ottawa and it was like crickets on social media. Like people weren't engaging with what we're doing. Like Toronto as a market is like they've been conditioned to engage with media.
Yeah.
Ottawa's not used to that. Like Ottawa is used to engaging with very, very local media. So Apartment 613, Couch Assassin, all these, like they get good following because I think Ottawa's been conditioned to think local when it comes to media. So for the longest time, a lot of like when we first started, most of our following was in Toronto or like the States.
Yeah.
Even though we were based here, and it's only now that we're actually getting the engagement from Ottawa.
Engagement from Ottawa, the more publicity here. What about your thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, just working in the arts for years. Ottawa's like, things come easy to Ottawa because, you got the National Arts Center. Like Ottawa's not known for pioneering.
Yeah.
And also Ottawa's not known for recognizing talent, like up and coming talent, especially like I'm when Alanis Morissette was coming up, like she didn't get any love in the city of Ottawa. She had to go to Toronto, and it's only when she hit it big in Toronto that all of a sudden everybody's like, "Hey, you're one of ours," and she doesn't, she doesn't even want to come to the city that much. A lot of people don't come back.
They always stay there. Most
and so I think because we're a capital city, we have a hard time, I think, embracing local talent. And so for us, it was kind of like, it'd be cool if we pioneer something that celebrated not only just local talent, but also national talent. Just kind of, so it's we want to put Ottawa on the map and also want to get people in Ottawa to kind of embrace the incredible talent that's here. And I think that's kind of, I think that's one of the reasons we always talk about that. We just want to make Ottawa famous. Yeah, like Kanye.
Kanye made it famous. Why not, eh? All right, so a question, I can ask Joe you this question. So, I mean, already you've interviewed several people, from different categories, major categories as well. So just to name a few. So there's platinum selling artist from King Empire, B. Howard. That's the other guy. You have fashion designer and Nelson Mandela Legacy Ambassador, Gwen Madiba. I think that's how you say your name. Okay, Oscar-nominated director of Room, Lenny. These names are just complicated. I'm sorry, guys. Abrahamson. Yeah. Interview with much TV personality Tyrone T-Rex Edwards. Last but not least, me. I'm a big deal. That's what I do. Right? Last but not least, you weren't there at the time. He was. You should have been there. It was amazing.
Sorry, man.
That's what we do. So just to follow up to that question, if you had the opportunity to interview anybody in the world tonight, you had just one chance to pick somebody, who would you pick?
For me?
Both of you, yeah.
Man, it's funny because if alive or dead.
That's a good one. We'll say dead. That's a little more interesting.
Well, for me, simple, man. I'm Martin Luther King Jr., man.
Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yeah, that's been like, as a little kid in Africa, I went to a school called Martin Luther King School.
What school from Africa?
I'm from Eritrea.
Okay.
So I went to this tiny private school, and it was named after him. So I always felt like, man, this is a cool guy. So that would be a guy that I would want to talk to and interview because not only like the whole idea of cultural transformation, like he did it, man, and he did it in a way that is still, relevant
on a grand scale.
On a grand scale. Yeah. So love to talk to the architect of the, the civil rights movement. That would be really incredible for me. And also, he was a preacher too, man.
Go on.
He was a preacher too, man.
He was a preacher too. Yeah, I was a pastor.
But like for me, I think it's the use of language. That he was able to communicate, the plight of the black people in a way that no one had ever done before, and connected with everybody. It wasn't just for black people; it was for everyone. And so, just loved his ability to change the conversation and do some incredible stuff. So that would be the guy that I would want to talk to.
Well,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
well said.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Kevin?
The person I would want to talk to is Oliver El Khatib, the co-founder of OVO.
Okay.
Yeah, he's what like you always have those guys who are very quiet and behind the scenes who are like pulling strings. Like, those people intrigue me. Oliver El Khatib, like I kind of just try to study him, because you look at what OVO and Drake has accomplished. Like, that wouldn't have happened without Oliver El Khatib's like the business guy. He runs the OVO store. He runs the OVO Fest. He runs has his hand in all these different aspects of culture. For me, I'm like I'd love to get into his mind and truly understand. Okay, how did you guys build what you guys have built?
Yeah.
I don't like, for me, if I could interview Drake or Oliver El Khatib, like, it'd be hard for me, because I'm like, I want to know this. I want to talk to this guy, because he's like the architect.
And I see you guys doing that a little bit, right? Because you have also Shift Arm Films, and you have a couple of.
Yeah, I mean, we enjoy talking to people, like, to not just the people who are like out there, but also the behind the scenes people. Like, that's what kind of intrigues me. So my pick would be Oliver El Khatib.
Okay, that's a good one. So you've covered a couple of events in 2016. One of them was the World Changes United 1. That was over by the Shaw Center, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So speaking about that, you had over 196 countries,
Yep.
1,200 different world leaders, or not world leaders, but changers, right? So that being said, the highlight must have been, what's her name? Emma Watson. Emma Watson
Yeah,
as a
we
Hollywood
actually
activist.
missed Emma Watson, and our film guy Vlad there, who has the big crush on her, would have liked for us to go.
So you interviewed Emma Watson.
No. But Vlad actually, like, should I say it? Vlad was actually trying to meet her while she was here in town. Actually got like pretty close though. Actually,
You got close, didn't you?
Yeah.
I don't blame
It was bordering on like illegal activity.
How illegal was it?
It would have made a good show though. It would have made a good show.
Yeah.
Him following Emma Watson. Sorry.
You almost pulled a Borat, didn't you? It was that close. I don't blame you. I would have done the same thing. My mama told me to, actually. I just didn't do it. Kevin told me no. I don't know why you did. Oh, boy.
Yeah. So the highlight. Well, actually, one great. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. So at one point we were in a press conference with Kofi Annan, the former head of the UN.
Okay.
And so we were in there with like all this international media from like for us as a magazine. That was a huge milestone for us, because we were like in there with like media from like the US, Africa, Europe, and we're there too. And we're like, shoot, guy, like we're like Washington Post is here, and like all this African media, and yeah, all these major like BBC, CBC, and we're like, yo, we're in here with these guys in a private press conference with Kofi Annan. Like that felt like a huge like milestone for us, you know. And even the people we got to photograph, I'm like, at one point I was sitting in the front row taking a picture of Cher, and I was like, I looked at my camera, I'm like, yo, I just took a picture of Cher. In Ottawa. I'm like,
Ottawa.
that's like...
And these are things that happen, but no one realizes they're happening.
I'm in Ottawa, taking pictures of these kinds of people in our city. Like, that was huge, you know? Yeah.
That's huge. So I guess my last question for you guys would be, where do you guys see Shift Your Magazine 5 years from now?
5 years from now.
5 years from now.
Oh, man. We've got vision, man. We've got lots of vision. I mean, we look at ultimately, having... subscribers to the magazine and upwards of, 100,000 plus. People, reading it regularly all over the world. In addition to that, we have different, we call it the Shifter universe, and different aspects of it that we're building out. And so we see it as being a media entity that's recognized, and that we actually have a physical space, with studios where we can do shows and stuff like that. We see us doing a lot of really, I think, creative, like he's big into the content side of stuff, so we see us doing some documentaries and stuff like that, telling stories. That's what we're really good at. Obviously interviewing, high caliber people, we see that doing that, and just
thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
And of course, like one of the biggest things that we that we aspire to is have an event. Ottawa's known for festivals. We want to do a shifter type of festival that celebrates culture.
100%.
So that's kind of some of the stuff that we have some plans, and I know he'll talk to you about some other stuff. Summarized it.
I think for me overall, I would love for just Shifter to be a household name. Like that's for me, it's like that's what bugs me the most. I'm like, that's my like every day. I'm like, I'd love for this thing to be a household name. In 5 years, like this needs to be a name that's like known across Canada at least.
Like if you don't know it, you have to go
Y-
to the U.S. pretty
Yeah.
much.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And even there, we still want to be known in the U.S. too. So.
Yeah.
No, I want to be known in the world, man. Especially nowadays, so easy with social media.
Yeah, because I think for all of us, like, I come from Toronto. My family comes from Barbados. He's from Eritrea. Grew up in Italy, and so our view is like not just Ottawa or even not just Canada. Eventually, like we're like we need to touch these places that
Global.
our families came from as well. So that's kind of a long term, like where we'd like to be.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, straight up. I think the vision of anything, you think you have big, massive vision, but you act small.
Yeah.
And so the big vision, which sometimes seems like audacious, some people laugh at you, but that's what motivates us day in, day out. But then what moves the company is these little, small, incremental steps that ain't sexy, that no one wants to do, but you just keep doing them. And so that's really what we're trying to do is we really think big, but we act small. And so that's kind of what I like to tell people is like, you know what, if you've got big vision, you know what, just go after it. But you know what, just thinking big ain't gonna, like a lot of people, that's all they think. They watch all these really cool, inspirational things. They're thinking big, but it's like, you know what, you gotta act small. And also you gotta create some systems to allow you to, scale whatever you have. And, 3.5 years ago, like we just had an idea.
Yeah.
And we just acted on the idea, and it's incredible what could happen when you just, go after what you're passionate about. So, love your show too, man.
Thank
like,
you,
one
I
day,
appreciate it.
maybe we'll be you'll be the next Jimmy Fallon, I'll be like, yo, what's up?
I need an outline first before I can do any of that. Like
Yeah, Canada's our senior hall.
Canada's. Hey.
Yeah. No, man, this is awesome, man.
Woo.
So, yeah.
But yeah, that's great. And you can't spread yourself too thin, right? Right. I always say this: the distance between reality and dreams can only be measured by motivation. And you guys are just always motivated all the time, and we like to see that. So we're actually gonna come right back. We have Lisa, Matsier, and Vladimir from Shift Round Films, and we're gonna talk a lot about films and their past CTV thing that we can cut this out because it's not there anymore. Okay, cool. Thank you.